everyone, welcome back. I'm Di, and today I'm sharing with you my manga haul for the month of July. So the stock is a little bit bigger this month, but I've got several omnibus volumes. So yeah, I've also got one that I've already read in here, so that's great, right? Not something that you normally hear me say when I do my manga hauls. But yes, I'm very excited for all of the titles that I have picked up over the month of July, so let me get into telling you what I got. So right off the top here, we have Red River, volumes 10, 11, and 12 by Chie Shinohara. This one is published by Viz, rated older teen. So this is about a girl who gets taken back into time, into like ancient Anatolia or something like that. I started reading this so many years ago, and I had to stop reading it because I was borrowing it from my library. And the library ended up not having the next volume. I think it was like volume 15 or something. And that's when I found out that this was hard to come by, and I couldn't find a volume 15 anywhere, and just like stopped reading, hoping that one day it would come back as republished, reprinted, and it did. And so I'm definitely collecting it now so that I can go ahead and continue reading it. So we're up to about where I had to stop reading it, so I'm really excited. But I don't think I will pick this one up again until I have all of the volumes, just so that I can like read all the way through, you know what I mean? And so yes, really enjoyed what I had read so far of Red River, and I still remember a bit of it, but I'm excited to re-experience that one. I have volume 1 of The Hitman Stands by Rintaro Oshima. This one is published by Yam Press, rated older teen. So this one is about the one and only legendary killing machine Owaru Endo, and he's the strongest hitman around until he announces his retirement out of the blue. The whole underworld is stupefied, especially since the reason he's stepping down is to fully devote himself to standing his favorite idol. Trading guns for glow sticks, Owaru is ready to embrace the superfan life, or he would be if his past could just stay buried. Thank you very much. So I guess this is the person that he really enjoys. I believe the term that is used for that is Oshi. But this has very similar like feel, at least as far as the summary goes, to the Geek X Hitman. We read volume 1 of that, was it last year or the year before? Sometime with the Monochrome Manga Club. And so I thought that this might be very interesting to read, and so definitely picked that one up. I can't remember if I had heard about that one from the Creepy Geek. I feel like I did, but I can't remember for sure. But if I did, definitely wanted to credit the Creepy Geek for that one. But yes, very excited for that. This is volume 8 of 365 Days to the Wedding, story and art by Tamaki Wakaki, published by 7 Seas, rated teen. So this one is about our two characters on the cover, and they both work for a travel agency in Japan. The travel agency suddenly states that they're going to open up a location in Siberia, and they're looking through their employee lists to see who they can send there, and they specifically say that they are excluding people who are married from the list of people being looked at for the move. And so these two characters definitely don't want to get moved to Siberia. So they come up with the idea to say that they are engaged to be married, so they can be excluded from the list of employees being considered. And so we kind of follow them going through kind of this lie to their coworkers and their agency, their family and friends and things like that, and also getting to know each other a bit better along the way. I really enjoyed the live action drama adaptation of this one, and there is now an anime adaptation as well, which I started watching, but I've taken a pause from this one and I really need to get back to it. And it's just merely because I've got so many other things that I watch. And so, you know, with the seasonal shows and all of that. And so, yeah, I've enjoyed what I've read so far. Like I said, I really enjoyed the live drama adaptation. Looking forward to seeing if that stays close to what is presented in the manga, so far what I have read has matched up pretty well with what I've watched. So I'm really excited to see if the ending is going to be the same. And so yes, I'm continuing to collect that one. It does say inspired the TV drama Map for the Wedding and an anime adaptation on the back over here. I have volume 31 of Blue Exorcist by Kazue Kato, published by Viz, rated older teens. So this one follows a guy who ends up finding out that he's the son of Satan, and due to events that had happened around the time that he learns this about himself, he decides that he is going to become an exorcist and learn how to defeat demons and things so that he can vanquish Satan. And so he ends up going to this academy to try to learn how to become an exorcist, and we watch him learn about the world that has been opened up to him, make friends, learn about his abilities and what he can do, as well as some things about his twin brother. And so I really enjoy this series. There is so much more to this story than just that. That's kind of the starting point of this story. But so many things have happened. I really enjoy the friendships in this series. Daughter is up to date reading this one, and so I definitely had to pick up the next volume for her. But she is kind of my, like, okay, you can start reading again indicator, because I hate cliffhangers. And there's something going on in the series where she's at, or here, that is not concluded yet, and so she stopped me from reading until that concludes. So I don't think where this volume is, the things have concluded yet, because she's also been reading on the Shonen Jump app. But definitely enjoy this series so much, and I'm glad to collect it for our shelves. And so yes, had to pick that one up. I have volume 8 of Tamon's B-Side by Yuki Shiwasu. This one is published by Viz, rated teen. So this one follows a woman who is a big fan of this idol group, and she obviously has a favorite, and in order to buy all the merch and support the group and things like that, go to concerts, she needs to make money. And so she is a house cleaner. They get calls from people to go out to their houses to clean them. And so one day her coworker is supposed to go clean this house, but the coworker is sick, so she gets assigned instead. And little does she know, but that house belongs to her favorite member from that boy band. And so she ends up going to clean his house pretty regularly, and learning more about him as the person he is off stage, because that is so much different from the person he is on stage. It is a really good story. There's a lot about the idol activities and their schedules, and how Tamon deals with having this stage persona that's completely different from who he is as a person, and the struggles he goes through with that. And I really find it interesting. I'm enjoying the story a lot. I enjoy the talks that are being had between our main character and her favorite idol, and it's just a really, really fun, entertaining story, and I'm enjoying it a lot. I picked up volume 1 of Twisted Wonderland, the manga book of Octa Vinel. I'm not quite sure if you pronounce it that way, but obviously this follows the house of Ursula, because all of the houses at this academy are fashioned after Disney villains. And so the house that is fashioned after Ursula, this has original concept by Yana Toboso, storyboards by Wakana Hazuki, and art by Sumire Kowono. So this is the same team that did the House of Heart's Labial, which is the first part that was released of the Twisted Wonderland mangas. This one's published by Viz, rated teen. So like I said, there's this academy that has houses that are fashioned after Disney villains, and we follow a guy in the real world. He does kendo, and he's like finished his last practice before a big competition, and he's like on his way home, and he gets picked up by this carriage and transported into this world with this academy. And he has no like abilities, but everybody at the school does, and so they don't know why he's there. But the carriage only picks up people that should be at this school. So we kind of follow him as he tries to adjust to being here, tries to figure out how to get back home, and all of that, making friends, kind of helping some of his classmates with things and things like that. It's really interesting. I enjoyed the first arc a lot. There were 4 volumes in the Hearts Labule arc. Enjoyed it a lot. Obviously, Yana Toboso, really enjoy her work on Black Butler. In fact, this team, I believe, also does work on Black Butler together. And so, yeah, looking forward to continuing in this world. I have 2 volumes of Record of Ragnarok, art by Ajichika, or I think it's pronounced Ajichika, story by Shinya Umemura, and script by Takumi Fukui. This one is published by Viz, rated older teen. So I have volume 2 and volume 3. We read volume 1 for the Monochrome Manga Club in July, and so I picked up the next couple volumes to read after we had our meeting. And so this is a story about a world where you're kind of meeting with the gods. The gods convene every few million years or something like that. They convene every once in a while to discuss whether or not humanity should be allowed to keep existing. So they kind of go through all the things that have happened with humanity and discuss among themselves whether or not they should exterminate humanity or not. And in this case, they're at this meeting, they're trying to decide, and one of the Valkyries suggests that they try to decide a little bit different this year and have the tournament called Record of Ragnarok. Now, this tournament was kind of added into the rules of the meetings as kind of like a throwaway kind of thing, because if you think about it, having a tournament between gods and humans, the obvious thought is that the gods would decimate the humans. So the gods find this to be a laughable suggestion, but they're like, you know what? Let's go ahead and have that tournament. So we follow, in the first volume at least, the start of the first tournament between human and god. And it's very much focused on the battle and the 2 opponents. And it tells you a little bit of history about the human opponent, and then you get a little bit of background. In the first volume, the first opponent is Thor, so he's Norse god, and a little bit about his weaponry and things like that. It was really interesting. Interesting enough that I went ahead and picked up the next 2 volumes. And to be honest, battle manga really isn't my type of thing, but towards the end of the first volume, we get a list of the opponents that are being considered for this tournament. And some of the names on the list really intrigue me. I'm very curious to know how those tournaments are going to come about. And I think we're going to see one soon, because this is Adam. And I'm not quite sure who this guy is. Zeus? I think it's Zeus. Adam and Zeus. And so interested to see how that's going to happen. I'm not sure who's on this one. It says Poseidon and Sasaki Kojiro are these 2 opponents. And so really interested to read more into this one. Like I said, this was a suggestion from 2 of our Monochrome Manga Club members. They are super passionate about this series, and I believe there's also an anime. And so really excited to continue with this one and looking forward to seeing how that story continues. I have a light novel here. This is volume 2 of River Bay Road, Men's Dormitory by Arise Zhang. This one's published by 7 Seas, and I would say that this is rated mature. So this follows a man who has made his riches in the movie industry, and he really wants to write now. Like, he still like is in the industry, but he wants to do something a little bit different. He's on the younger side, and he's like making his like draft, and he's having people read his draft, and they're telling him his drafts are terrible because his like conversational sections, nobody talks like that. And the reason he is so bad at writing conversations is because he just doesn't have the experience talking to people, just going out and hanging out. He's dated people here and there, but he hasn't had like real like lasting friendships, or he hasn't really just hung out casually with people. So he doesn't really have a basis on how to write conversations between characters. And so he comes up with this brilliant idea that he inherited this like mansion. I would call it a mansion, in this kind of affluent area. And he has several rooms that he doesn't use. And so he's like, I'm going to put out an ad and get people to live here with me so that I can observe how they talk to each other. And maybe that will help me write my conversations a little better. Now, our main character is a gay man, and so in his ad, he puts out that he only wants gay men to apply to live with him. He gets a bunch of applicants because he prices the housing so low. He ends up with 4 or 5, I think, housemates. And so the first of this light novel series kind of follows you getting to know these roommates, seeing how they interact with each other, and them hanging out together. And each one of the roommates has a reason as to why they decided to apply to stay at River Bay Road. And so I really enjoyed the first installment. There were a few things that I didn't enjoy, but it was just an entertaining kind of casual read. And I think for me, I just need to not have like expectations that it's going to be like real like go type of stories, with especially the Danmei. And at least that's been my experience with the Danmei that I've read so far. And because this is like a contemporary story, it's not really the type of story that I read all the time, especially in novel format. But I enjoyed the first one enough that I decided to go ahead and pick up the second one. So I'm glad to continue this story with all of the guys and see them hang out with stuff. Like they did some laser tag together, and they went to an onsen and things like that. Really fun, like group get-togethers. And it's got some art inside, color page in the front, and then you get like illustrations here and there within the publication. So I really enjoyed that as well. And so I'm looking forward to reading the next installment of River Bay Road, Men's Dormitory. So I'm going to talk about the next 2 together because they are from the same series, but they're different. So we picked up Tokyo Revengers volume 19 and 20. This one is by Ken Wakui, published by 7 Seas, rated older teen. This was the 2 volumes that we read for the Monochrome Manga Club in July. And then we also picked up volumes 1 and 2 in the brilliant full color edition. So yes, we are doubling up on our purchases of this series, but we have been immensely enjoying this series about Takemichi, who in the beginning of the series we meet when he's in his mid-20s. He's watching television and a news report comes on that basically tells him that his girlfriend from when he was a teenager, or in middle school, I should say, was murdered. And the people that murdered her were part of a gang that he used to know all those years back. And through a twist of events, he finds that he is able to time travel back to that time when he was in middle school. And he decides that he's going to use that opportunity to try to change the events in the future so that it saves his girlfriend from being murdered. And it's just a really interesting story. Lots of heartbreaking moments. For me, I never really know what to expect, other than the fact that I think at this point, the only thing I know what to expect every time we read one of these omnibus volumes is that there's going to be character death. Character death and a lot of like fighting and seeing characters that I really, really have become attached to get beat up a lot. I think those are the only things that I can expect at the moment. But where the story has gone, I couldn't even tell you. Like, I couldn't even predict it. It just does such a great job of keeping me invested in the story. And I will tell you that right off the bat, when this came up as a series selection, I did not think I was going to be interested at all. But I am interested, I am invested, I am hooked. We're having such great conversations with our manga club members. And obviously, we are double dipping as far as purchasing this series. But I will flip to the very beginning here. And so it is full color. And I'll just show you the very first page of that. But yes, really glad to have this edition as well. Daughter will end up with one of these series and I will end up with the other. I don't know who is going to have which one, but for right now we are collecting both and couldn't be happier to do so. And then the last thing that I have here is the next volume of the omnibus edition of A Sign of Affection by Sue Morishita. This one's published by Kodansha, rated older teen. So this one follows a woman who is deaf, and she's like venturing out for the first time kind of independently to go to college. And so on her way to college, she ends up in a situation where a guy is trying to ask her for directions someplace or something like that, and she can't understand what he's saying. And so this other guy comes in and basically saves her, and they start getting to know each other. And it kind of follows them getting closer and closer and closer. I've watched the first season of the anime, really enjoyed it. I've read the first volume of the manga and really enjoyed it. There are a few things that bother me a little bit, but I'm looking forward to continuing with the series. And after watching the anime, I decided to go ahead and continue collecting the rest of the manga because I enjoyed it that much. And so, yes, really excited to be collecting this series, and I'm looking forward to reading the rest of that one. So that is everything that I have to talk to you about as far as my manga haul for July goes. So let me know down in the comments below if you've read any of these or if you've collected any of these, what you thought of them, but please no spoilers. And if nothing else, and you'd just like to let me know that you were here, if you could leave me some kind of summary emoji down in the comments below, it'd be greatly appreciated and would really help me out. And that will do it for me today. So I hope you're all doing great. I hope you're all safe and healthy. And until next time, take care and smile always. Bye.